Welcome to today's deep dive. I want you to imagine a scenario that, we have absolutely all experienced at some point. You are completely famished, you pop into a local shop just to grab a quick sandwich for lunch, and your heart immediately sinks.
Oh, I know this feeling.
Right. The queue for the till is just snaking all the way down the biscuit aisle and around the corner. You know that specific feeling of dread. But now I want you to imagine the absolute thrill of simply walking into that same shop, scanning that sandwich with your own smartphone, tapping a single button to pay, and just walking straight out the door.
No till, no queue.
Exactly. No waiting, no frustration.
It is a fundamentally different way to interact with a physical retail space. It completely changes the psychology of the quick errand, really shifting it from a chore to a seamless part of your day.
And that is exactly what we are focusing on today. We have a truly fascinating stack of material in front of us today. We're looking at expert presentations, detailed case studies, and industry insights, all focused on the rapid evolution of scan and go and unified self-checkout technology in modern retail.
Yeah, and we are looking at this from a very specific strategic angle because on the surface, this technology just looks like a convenient way to skip a queue.
Right.
But the reality of what is actually happening behind the scenes is far more profound.
Today's mission is to understand how this technology is doing far more than just killing the queue. It is actually creating a symbiotic retail experience that merges the absolute best parts of online shopping, the deep personalization, the rich data, the speed right into the physical brick-and-mortar store. Okay, let's unpack this. Where did this all actually begin? Because while it feels quite new and futuristic, the foundation has been around for a bit.
Yeah, the origins of Scan and Go actually trace back to around 2013. You had major retail giants like ASDA here in the UK and Walmart in the US experimenting with their own early proprietary solutions.
But 2013 was ages ago in tech years.
Exactly. We have to remember the context of 2013. That was only a few years after the smartphone truly went mainstream. The basic technology was there, but the universal consumer habit of using a phone for absolutely everything wasn't quite baked in yet. It is booming right now specifically because smartphone literacy is now practically universal across all demographics.
I was actually reading a market research report in our sources from a specialty retailer that highlighted this perfectly. They noted that one of their most regular recurring Scan and Go users is a 96-year-old customer.
Which is a brilliant data point. It really is. If we connect this to the bigger picture, physical retail is currently in a massive fight for its life against the sheer convenience of e-commerce.
Oh, absolutely.
Online shopping remembers you, it suggests complementary items to you, it gives you endless product reviews at the click of a button. Physical retail has to fight back with the same weapons. Bridging that digital gap right there in the physical aisle is the absolute key to their long-term survival.
But implementing the software is only half the battle, isn't it? You actually have to convince people to change their established habits and use the thing. And one of the case studies included a rather hilarious cautionary tale about how not to advertise a shiny new scan and go system.
Oh, the single flyer strategy?
Yes, a particular retailer apparently did everything right on the tech side. The app worked flawlessly. But they failed spectacularly at getting the word out because their entire promotional strategy consisted of a single paper flyer.
Which is bad enough on its own.
But to make matters worse, they stuck this single flyer to the automatic sliding door at the store's entrance. So every time a curious customer walked up to read the instructions on how to use the new system, the motion sensor would trigger, the door would slide open, and the flyer would literally vanish into the wall.
Just completely disappearing.
Unsurprisingly, they saw almost zero usage in those crucial first few weeks.
It is a textbook example of operational blindness. Retailers often get so caught up in the IT deployment that they completely forget the human element. Contrast that approach with Sam's Club in the US.
What do they do differently?
They treated their Scan and Go technology as such a premium competitive advantage that they actually ran a Super Bowl advert for it.
Wow, a Super Bowl advert just for a checkout feature.
Exactly. They positioned it as a VIP service, a fundamental upgrade to the shopping experience. It wasn't an afterthought.
I imagine a lot of retailers want to dip a toe in first, though. Perhaps test the waters in one or two locations. How do you actually get from a pilot scheme to seeing 10 to 20% of all transactions going through Scan and Go?
The industry research outlines a few golden rules for achieving high adoption rates. First, you need massive, comprehensive rollouts. Customers get incredibly frustrated if they take the time to download an app, learn how to use it in one pilot store, and then find out it doesn't work in the branch closer to their house.
Yeah, you just delete the app at that point.
Exactly. You need it everywhere to generate that crucial word-of-mouth momentum. Second, and this is entirely non-negotiable, there can be no exceptions in the user journey.
I can see how exceptions would ruin the magic. If I have to queue up anyway, why bother downloading the app in the first place?
Spot on. If a customer uses your app to scan 20 items flawlessly, but then they have to go stand in the regular queue for a traditional till just because they picked up a gift card or an age-restricted item like a bottle of wine.
The entire experience is ruined.
Yes. The psychological reward of skipping the queue is gone. They will likely never open the app again. The system has to be robust enough to handle everything. Loose vegetables, fresh bakery items, security tags, the lot.
And what about the physical layout of the store itself? Does that have to change?
That is the third golden rule. Physical adaptation. You can't just throw a digital app at a physical store and change nothing else. You need specific hardware, like dedicated fast lanes and visual exit gates.
Like those illuminated ones.
Yes, the psychology here is quite brilliant. You want the people who are stuck waiting in the traditional queue to physically watch the scan-and-go users breeze past them through these sleek illuminated gates.
Ah, so you actively want to generate a little bit of queue envy.
Precisely. It makes the invisible digital transaction highly visible and highly desirable in the physical space.
That makes perfect sense. And when a retailer offers all these options seamlessly, they cater to a specific type of shopper mentioned in the research. They called him the checkout chameleon.
The Yokin example, yes.
Right, joking. This is someone who doesn't just stick to one method. Depending entirely on their mood or perhaps their basket size on any given day, they might use Scan and Go on their phone. The next day, they might use a self-checkout kiosk, and on the weekend, they might go to the traditional till to have a chat with the cashier.
People want options.
But because the retailer uses a unified ecosystem, the digital receipt is always sent straight to their app, regardless of which physical method they chose.
It is about giving the customer total control over their journey while maintaining a single, unbroken stream of data for the retailer.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because once you have the customer actively using their smartphone in the aisle, you unlock something massive. You bring the e-commerce advantage directly into the physical space.
We are talking about the shift from purely transactional technology to highly lucrative value-added services.
Let's contextualize this with a common shopper dilemma. Let's take a hypothetical shopper named Konstantin. He is an athletic foodie on a strict vegan diet. He has a bunch of specific food intolerances, and he tracks all his macros or macronutrients for the fitness uninitiated.
A very demanding shopper profile.
For Konstantin, a simple trip to the supermarket is essentially a research project. He spends hours squinting at the tiny print on the back of packages, checking for hidden allergens, and comparing protein content. How does a unified Scan and Go app actually solve his problem?
It completely transforms his experience. Let's look at a digitally enriched store model. Another customer, David, walks in and scans a simple box of Barilla penne with his smartphone.
Just normal pasta.
Just normal pasta. But because he is using the store's app, the physical product instantly becomes a digital portal. On his screen, he immediately sees that this specific pasta has a 4.8-star rating from other local shoppers.
That's brilliant.
And it goes further. He can watch a quick 15-second Instagram influencer's recipe video featuring that exact pasta right there in the app, and the system automatically generates a pop-up suggesting a complimentary fresh Parmesan cheese that has just arrived in stock, offering him a tailored recipe based on his past purchasing behavior.
So the app is doing all the heavy lifting of product discovery and research while the customer is standing right in front of the shelf. I imagine brands are eager to get involved in that level of targeted messaging.
That is the holy grail for retailers right now. That is retail media monetization in action. To understand the financial implications of this, we just have to look at Amazon. Amazon makes over 35% of its retail revenue not from the profit margins on the physical products it sells, but from behavioral recommendations and targeted advertising.
35%, that's huge.
They make billions simply by helping you decide what to buy. Now, physical supermarkets finally have the technology to do exactly the same thing.
So brands are shifting their advertising budgets away from traditional in-store displays and putting it straight into the retailer's app.
Precisely. Think about all the money brands currently spend on cardboard cutouts, paper flyers, and shelf wobblers.
Those little plastic promotional tags that literally wobble off the edge of the shelves to catch your eye.
Exactly those. Now, They can shift that entire budget to the digital space within the physical store. A brand will pay a premium for a Mike's Choice digital flag on their product or to be the top of search listing when a customer types pasta into the store app. It is a highly targeted advert delivered at the exact moment of purchase intent.
And there are also incredible spillover effects between offline and online shopping. I was looking at an example involving a shoe shop. Say you find a pair of trainers you love, you try them on, you walk around, they fit like a glove. You have that tactile, physical reassurance you just cannot get from a website. But they don't have the exact color you want in stock.
In a traditional store, that is a lost sale. You walk out disappointed.
Right.
But with the unified app, you simply scan the barcode of the display shoe. The app instantly recognizes the product and says, "We don't have the blue ones in the back room today, but you can order them right now through this app and they will be delivered to your house tomorrow."
That's so smart.
The physical store provides the sensory experience, the fit, the feel, and the digital channel provides the infinite catalog. The retailer captures the sale that would otherwise have walked out the door.
It is brilliant. And all of this interaction seems heavily tied into loyalty programs as well. The research mentioned massive successes with the Joe program in Austria and the Douglas Beauty Card.
Yes, integrating loyalty is crucial.
By integrating these loyalty programs directly into the Scan and Go app, everything becomes utterly frictionless. No more fumbling for a plastic card or holding up the queue while you try to remember your phone number for the cashier. Your points are collected automatically as you shop, and digital coupons are applied without you having to do a single thing.
It removes all the psychological friction and the time costs usually associated with loyalty schemes. It turns something that used to be a bit of an administrative chore into something genuinely rewarding.
Okay, so the app makes shopping easier, it makes the store more money through highly targeted ads, and it drives loyalty. But none of that matters if people are simply walking out the door with unpaid groceries.
Very true.
We have to talk about the elephant in the room, loss prevention. If you let people scan their own items, how do retailers prevent massive theft?
Yes, shrinkage. It is the ultimate fear for any retail executive, and rightly so. Supermarket margins are notoriously thin, often just a few percent, so any shrinkage is a massive problem.
Right.
The data makes a very interesting distinction here, though. It notes that the vast majority of shoppers are inherently honest. Most discrepancies are just genuine mistakes. Someone simply forgot to scan the heavy bag of potatoes at the bottom of the trolley.
Easily done.
Exactly. But there is a very specific heinous minority who cause serious margin erosion because they steal deliberately, simply because they think the self-checkout system gives them the cover to get away with it.
To combat this, retailers are using some truly aggressive strategies.
Yeah.
I read about the Dutch multi-brand ban, and my jaw genuinely dropped. Rival supermarkets sharing ban lists.
It is a phenomenal psychological deterrent. In the Netherlands, major rival supermarket chains actually came together, navigated the complex legalities of shared data, and agreed on a unified loss prevention policy.
Which is unprecedented.
Completely. If you are caught deliberately stealing using a self-checkout at one chain, you aren't just banned from that specific shop, you are banned from all participating rival supermarket chains for 2 full years.
2 years. You are risking your ability to conveniently buy food anywhere in your own neighborhood. You'd be left with almost no option but to order all your groceries online.
Exactly. It's a massive risk. But a psychological deterrent only works if you have a robust technological pillar to enforce it and catch the offenders in the first place.
Right, because traditional self-checkouts just use those frustrating scales.
Traditional loss prevention relied heavily on security scales, weighing the basket to make sure the physical weight matched the digital weight of the scanned items. But scales are notoriously slow, they get confused by lightweight items or personal shopping bags, and they deeply frustrate honest customers.
Unexpected item in the bagging area. That phrase haunts my dreams. So if it isn't using scales to weigh the basket, how does the new technology actually know when to flag a customer?
This is where artificial intelligence is completely changing the game. The industry is moving toward AI models, like one highlighted in the presentations called shopreme Sentry. It doesn't use scales at all. Instead, it is deployed in what is known as shadow mode.
Shadow mode. How does that work in practice?
An out-of-the-box AI would fail because every store layout and local demographic is different. So when the AI is first installed, it runs quietly in the background in shadow mode. It doesn't intervene or stop any customers. It simply observes massive amounts of transaction data over several weeks to learn the specific digital fingerprint of that particular store.
So it's basically learning what normal looks like.
Spot on. Once it understands the normal, honest shopping patterns of the local customer base, it goes live. It analyzes the time between scans, the specific order items go into the basket, and the typical basket composition. If a customer scans 10 very cheap items, but the AI knows from the store's digital fingerprint that this specific sequence of movements usually indicates an expensive item is being concealed, it flags the basket for a spot check.
But spot checks are incredibly annoying for the honest customer who just made a mistake. How are retailers handling that friction?
What's fascinating here is how the software developers are actively turning that moment of high friction into a moment of joy through gamification.
Gamification for a security check.
Yes, they acknowledge that getting flagged feels accusatory and wastes time. So when a customer is flagged for a spot check on their smartphone, they aren't just given a static, boring screen saying, please wait for an attendant. The app actually launches a little jump and run smartphone game for them to play while they wait.
You're joking?
No, seriously, they can literally navigate a little digital character to collect virtual versions of the groceries they just scanned. It kills time, it significantly lowers the tension, and some retailers even give out small digital coupons to top scorers.
I love that. It completely diffuses a potentially confrontational situation. But obviously, the staff still have to perform the check or approve restricted items. How does the system make the staff interaction less painful?
The research provides a brilliant use case involving a shopper named Abigail. She's buying her groceries using Scan and Go, and she has a bottle of wine in her basket.
Which usually stops everything.
Normally, an age-restricted item brings the whole self-checkout process to a grinding halt. You stand there, a red light flashing above a kiosk, awkwardly waiting for someone to notice you. But in a unified system, the moment Abigail hits pay on her phone, an employee named David, who is all the way at the back of the store stocking shelves, gets a haptic vibration.
A notification on their device.
Yes, those rugged little handheld computers you see retail staff carrying around to check inventory. The tablet tells David that an age verification is needed at Abigail's specific location in the store.
So he drops what he's doing to walk over.
He doesn't even have to walk over there. He simply looks down the aisle, clearly sees that Abigail is well over the legal age, taps a button on his tablet to approve the purchase remotely, and goes right back to stocking shelves. Abigail barely even registers a pause in her shopping journey.
That is incredibly slick. And I read that for her next trip, Abigail might not need an employee at all. Because she was verified once, she can opt to use the facial biometrics on her own smartphone-like Face ID to verify her age for future age-restricted purchases. The entire process becomes invisible. So what does this all mean when we pull all these disparate threads together?
It means we have to start thinking of Scan and Go as just a digital till. That is a fundamental misunderstanding of the technology.
I completely agree. My biggest takeaway from all these case studies is that Scan and Go is a massive unified ecosystem. You have loss prevention AI quietly running in the background, learning digital fingerprints. You have retail media generating entirely new revenue streams from brands. You have smart recommendations actively helping people cook dinner. And you have these little moments of gamified joy to smooth over the rough edges.
And all of it feeds into one massive data pool.
Right. It is giving physical retail the competitive weapons it desperately needs to survive and thrive against the e-commerce giants.
It creates a perfect feedback loop. Better data leads to better, more personalized recommendations, which leads to happier customers who then buy more items, generating even more data to optimize the store further.
So, to you listening right now, the next time you use your phone to scan an item in a shop and breeze past the queue, take a moment to realize what is actually happening. You aren't just acting as your own unpaid cashier. You are interacting with a highly complex, beautifully tailored digital ecosystem that is quite literally bringing the sheer power, tracking, and personalization of the internet directly into the physical shopping aisle.
This raises an important question, though, and it is something we should all perhaps think about as this unified technology becomes the absolute standard in retail. As our physical stores become just as tailored, tracked, and curated as our web browsers, will we eventually lose the serendipity of discovering something entirely unrecommended? Or will the physical world simply become a perfect, frictionless mirror of our digital desires?
That is a brilliant thought to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. See you next time.